Hare Krishna. So again, welcome everyone on our Tuesday evening Bhagavad Gita class. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinim Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaitya Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we have been discussing Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. And in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in last two sessions, we discussed very important topic, starting with the importance of moving forward on the spiritual path. So Krishna says, Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. If one makes little progress on this path, he can be saved from the greatest danger. So we talked about consistency in the process. Doing little activity on a consistent basis can help us get big results. And then next one was having a single pointed attention, a clear goal, focus on the goal. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushakha hi anantasya buddhyo avyavasayina. So Krishna was telling that one should have a single pointed attention, like a businessman mentality. So he should be resolute on the path. But somebody who does not have that determination, their attention is diverted in so many different directions. Bahushakha hi anantasya. So we need to have that single pointed goal, single pointed attention. And then why somebody is not able to have a single pointed attention? Why somebody is not able to focus on their goal? Because of so many distractions. What are these distractions? Bhog Aishwarya Prasaktanam. When somebody is overly attached to sense enjoyment and material opulences. Because of these two things, Bhog Aishwarya, because of these two things, one is not able to focus on the goal. And then we talked about the Nishkama Karma principle, where Krishna is saying you have the right to perform your duty. Karmanne badhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Karma phala heturbhur mate sangho astava karmani. You have the right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the result of your work. So do your duty without considering the result. Do it for a matter of duty. And don't think I am the cause of the results. That don't think I am the doer. Because of me, this work got successful. And then don't even also become attached to not doing your duty, thinking that if I am not getting the result and I should not claim myself as the doer, then why even should I do the work, right? So don't get that wrong concept also. Mate sangho astava karmani. So why one should do their duty without focus on result? In that way, one can stay away from this all distress and happiness, the dualities of these two situations. So up to this point we discussed in the last session. Now we will continue from there onwards with text number 49. So very important verses. Krishna is primarily speaking about the concept of Nishkama Karma here, right? In chapter 2, From text number 31 to 37, 38, that time Krishna is speaking about karma kanda. Do the work with the desire of result. But then from 38 onwards, now Krishna had started speaking about Nishkama Karma Yoga. Don't get attached to result, doing your work without considering the result. So 249 is a very important verse. Krishna is speaking, Durena hi avaram karma, buddhi yoga dhananjaya, buddhau sharanam anvicha, kripna palahetavah. So very, very beautiful shloka actually. Durena hai avaram karma. So what Krishna is saying, O Dhananjaya, seek shelter of divine knowledge. Buddhau sharanam anvicha. Like the Buddhists speak this mantra very commonly, right? Buddham sharanam gacchami. I take shelter of Buddha. So they are taking shelter of Buddha, one who is in knowledge. But here Krishna is saying, Buddhau sharanam anvicha. Seek the shelter of divine knowledge. So seek shelter of divine knowledge, basically buddhi yoga, working in with intelligence by taking the knowledge of the scriptures. Then with this intelligence established in divine knowledge, buddhi yoga, discard all inferior work, abominable work. So here Krishna is using the word avaram karma. So I posted that question. Do you know what is avaram karma? It's not in the same category what we talk about vikarma, then karma, then akarma. So it's not like that. But avaram karma is mentioned here as inferior work or abominable work. But what is avaram karma here? Reward seeking work performed with the desire of result. So when somebody is performing the work with the desire of result, while always focusing on the result, that work, basically sakam karma. Okay, the sakam karma is referred here by Krishna as avaram karma. So again, Krishna is again and again telling, focus on nishkam karma without the desire of result. And in that way, do your duties. So take shelter of divine knowledge, and with intelligence established in divine knowledge, discard all inferior work. Don't seek out the result. Those, because why? Because those who want to enjoy the fruit of their work, they are misers. So the fourth line of this shloka, Krishna is giving another definition of a miserly person. Kripanaha phalhetava. Miser is somebody who is always desiring the result of their work. We talked about the definition of miserly person earlier. We think miserly person is somebody who does not spend, who does not utilize what he has. Somebody has a lot of wealth, he does not utilize that wealth, he's a miser person. Somebody has a lot of intelligence, but he does not utilize his intelligence, he's a miserly person. Somebody has a strength, but he does not utilize his strength to protect other people, he's a miserly person. So that is one definition of miserly, but Krishna is giving another very broad definition of miserly person. Somebody who want to enjoy the fruits of their work, they are misers. So those who take shelter in the fruits of their work, they are narrow-minded people because they do not think far enough. And when we chase the fruits, we condemn ourselves to misery. Because there are two aspects to work. One is external activity, and second is our internal attitude while doing that activity. Okay, so externally, two people may be doing the same work, but their internal attitude toward that work may be completely different. For example, let's say one person is an employee in a cafeteria, a school cafeteria, college cafeteria. So somebody is just an employee as a server there in the cafeteria. Let's say in the school, some lunch lady. Right, so they are serving the lunch to all the other people, children or anybody else, and they are serving the food, but their mentality, their internal attitude toward their work is different. They are doing it for money. And in the temple, we see the devotees, they serve out the lunch prasadam, they serve out the Sunday feast. They are also doing the external same work of serving food to others, but the internal attitude, the internal consciousness is different, right? That we are doing it as a service, we are distributing the prasadam of the Lord. External activity is same, serving the food, but internal attitude, internal consciousness is completely different. Same way, another example is, let's say we are building a temple. Okay, and in the temple construction, there are so many workers are coming, so many those construction employees are coming. They have been offered some salary, right? They are working for a contractor who is giving them some wages. So they are doing it as their job, as their salaried work. If they get a better option somewhere else, if they get a better salary somewhere else, they will not mind switching their job. So they, even though they are working in temple construction, but their internal consciousness, their attitude toward that work is different. Now, we may have many other devotees also who may be voluntarily helping in temple construction work. Somebody is buying the material, somebody is helping in the labor also in the temple construction. So they are doing it as a service to the God. Even though external work is same, but their internal attitude is completely different. So we can see activity performed does not matter, but our internal attitude towards that activity, that matters a lot. So Krishna is saying practice buddhi yoga. Buddhi yoga means take refuge by your intelligence situated in divine knowledge. And when you work in that way, what will happen? You will keep all the miseries, all the inauspicious things far away. So surrender with intelligence and take refuge in the eternal, not in the temporary things of this world. Take refuge in the eternal things. Now, as an individual evolves to a higher level of consciousness, one naturally gives up the desire for enjoying the fruits of work and moves in the direction of service. Right? People, when they come closer to their retirement age, people think, oh, I have worked enough now with the desire of fruits. Now I want to do some Nishkam Karma. Now I want to do some service to humanity. They may engage in some philanthropic activities. Somebody is helping the poor, somebody is distributing some blankets or some food or some medicines to the poor. Like that, people may do many sort of philanthropic activities. So at one level, yes, those are all good activities. Those are philanthropic activities. They are at least moving to the higher level of consciousness. For example, we know Bill Gates. Bill Gates, the owner of Microsoft Corporation, right? When he renounced his position, he dedicated his energy in service of society. Similarly, we talked about Bill Gates, Bill Clinton earlier. Bill Clinton, he was the president of USA. After losing his position, then he engaged in some philanthropic activities. He has even written a book, Giving, how each of us can change the world. Right. So even though these are good activities, they are engaged in some praiseworthy activities, but still it is imperfectly oriented. That service attitude becomes perfect when we learn to do our work for the pleasure of Krishna, dedicating all our fruits to Him. We may dedicate our fruits to service of other people, other living entities, which is good, but it is still not at the level of karma yoga. Right? It is still, yes, it is nishkama karma. We are not worrying about result for ourselves, but we are dedicating result to others. So generally, when it comes to nishkam karma, people want to cut off themselves from the externals, and they um, think about internal, think about something big, dream big. But problem is that even though when people start thinking materially big, they still remain in the rat race. It's not going to satisfy us. Either we can have infinite longing, or we can choose to long for the infinite, right? Infinite longing is the material desires. Longing for the infinite means we are longing for Krishna, who is infinite, who is the source of everything. So we need to change our infinite longing into longing for the infinite. So Krishna here taking very slowly, gradually towards that goal, that okay, don't work with the desire of result, at least first come to the stage of working without the desire, Nishkama Karma. So here Krishna is calling Avaram Karma as a work which is done with the desire of result, and Krishna is calling that as abominable work. Now 250, buddhi yukto jahati hita उभय सुकृत दुष्कृते तस्माद् योगया जुञ्जस्व योग कर्मसु कौशलम. So one who engages in work without attachment to results, again nishkama karma, without attachment to results. So Krishna is again referring it as buddhi yukto jahatiha, jahat iha. Okay, so if we break up that word, so when one engages in work without attachment to results, nishkama karma, then one can get rid of both good and bad reaction. Ubhay sukrita dushkrite. So sukrita and dushkrite, good and bad reaction in this life itself. Therefore, Krishna says, tasmad yogaya jujasva. Therefore strive for yoga. And that is the art of all work. Yoga karmashu kaushalam. So yoga is the art of all work. Kaushalam means art or expertise. So somebody may say that, oh, I play guitar and that is my expertise. My expertise in playing guitar. Somebody may say, oh, when I am so much absorbed in playing guitar, that's like yoga for me, right? Because kaushalam, that is my kaushal. So this is like yoga for me. Somebody may be saying, oh, I am a basketball player. When I shoot that ball into the basket, I get completely absorbed, like I'm going into the samadhi. That is my target, my goal. So that is yoga for me, but not exactly. When one is absorbed in something material, even though they are absorbed, they are completely absorbed, but does not mean it is spiritual in nature. So, but working in such a way that our work becomes spiritually conscious, that is what means buddhi yukto. So it's not simply absorption. One cannot say, oh, yes, I do my work with full absorption, right? When I'm working in my office, I'm working with full absorption in my work. I'm very dedicated. That is good that you have that focus to absorb in your work, but it is not still buddhi yukto. Buddhi yukto means when we know for whom we are working, when we align our consciousness spiritually. So therefore, Krishna is saying, therefore use your intelligence and do yoga. The root word yoga means to connect, right? Connect with the spiritual consciousness. Krishna has not told about himself yet. Up to so far in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has not declared that, yes, I am God and you connect with me. Krishna is not using the word bhakti yoga yet. He is using the word buddhi yoga so far. That engage your intelligence in divine knowledge. So all the good result or bad result of your previous work will be lost and you will achieve liberation. So many times what happens is when people hear about the concept of Nishkama Karma or even Karma Yoga, when people think that I should give up the attachment to the results, does it mean my performance will go down, that I should not care about my performance, right? I should work without the desire of results. So will it hinder my performance? Will my performance suffer? Will my performance go down? So Lord Krishna actually explains that working without personal motivation without the motivation of results, it does not reduce the quality of our work. If we may be working without personal motivation, that I want to gain some material benefit out of it, I want to gain some fame out of it. Even if we may not have any such motivation, it does not affect the quality of our work. Instead, we become more and more skillful than before. I will give you a couple of examples here. Let's say a doctor, a surgeon. Surgeon may do surgery on people. He may utilize his scissors, his knife while operating on the other patient, and he performs his duty with equanimity. Right? He's not disturbed. He remains undisturbed, irrespective whether the patient is going to survive or die. It does not mean he's thinking, "Oh, let him die. I don't care." He does his duty with full responsibility, with diligence, due care, but still he is not attached to that. He's just doing his duty, he's doing his best. This is because he is merely doing his duty selfishlessly, while cutting upon somebody, while operating upon somebody. He does not feel guilty if the patient dies. He doesn't think, "Oh, I murdered this person." So he remains equipoised in both situation. If the patient, if the operation is successful or not successful, he thinks, "I did my best and not everything is in my hand." But now just think, if that same surgeon, same doctor has to do a surgery on his own family member, on his own spouse, or on his own son or daughter, in that situation he does not get the courage to do so, because now he's attached to the result. He's thinking, "No, no, no, I have to save him or her." Right? He is thinking about the result, and in that way he is not getting that courage to operate on his own family member. In that way, most of the time, the doctors, they do not do surgery on their own family member. For them, they will call another doctor, because this is attachment with the result. So we can see from this example that attachment to the result does not make one person more skillful. Rather, it adversely affect the performance. So instead, if we work without attachment, we can do with our maximum skill level, without feeling nervous, without feeling scared, tense, or excited also. So in the case of Arjuna also, same situation was there. Arjuna earlier, he was attached to the result of this war, right? He was thinking, if I win this war, then I will get the kingdom. But otherwise, he was also fearful also for losing the war, or fear of losing his own friends and family, that I have to kill all these people. So in that way, he was getting very nervous. His bow Gandiva was slipping out of his hands. So he was not able to do his work with the same level of skill. But after Arjuna heard this message of Bhagavad Gita, after that, Arjuna performed his duty of fighting, just a matter of duty, as a duty towards Krishna. That if I perform this duty, Krishna will be pleased with me. So he just performed that work. He fought in that war just as a matter of duty to please Krishna. And in that way, he did it more diligently without attachment. And this made him more competent actually. He fought with greater inspiration, because now his work was directed in service of Krishna. So that is the difference. One should not think, "Oh, if I am not working with some personal motivation, then how will I be able to perform better?" Right? How will it inspire me to do my best? Actually, not caring for the result, that inspires us to do our better. So moving to text 51. In 51, Krishna says, कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्तो हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषनः जन्मबन्ध विनुर्मुक्ता padam गच्छन्ति anamayam. So by thus engaging your intelligence in divine knowledge, buddhi yukto. Again, see all these verses Krishna is speaking about buddhi yoga. So by this engaging your intelligence in divine knowledge, this buddhi yukta, the person free themselves from the result of work which is binding in the cycle of birth and death. Janam bandha vinurmukta. One person become free from this bondage of repeated birth and death in this material world. Padam gacchanti anamayam. And in this way, they attain the state beyond all the miseries. So indirectly, they are freed from the cycle of birth and death and they go back to Godhead. So Krishna is not directly saying, in the later chapter, Krishna will tell, yes, they become free from this material world and go back to my own abode. Reaching there, nobody comes back, right? So here Krishna is indirectly telling that they will go to the state beyond all miseries. So first time Krishna is indirectly talking about some other destination which is higher than Swarga. Earlier, Krishna had told Arjuna that if you perform your work nicely, you will attain Swarga. So either you will get the kingdom of this earth or you will get kingdom of Swarga, you will attain Swarga. So in both ways, it's win-win scenario for you. Now Krishna is going at a higher level, explaining there is a destination which is higher than Swarga. And when one works with Buddhi Yoga by engaging their intelligence in the spiritual knowledge, they give up the attachment of the fruits. They are not attracted by material superficial results. And the word used here is manish, manishina. So the word manish, right? We know many people have their name Manish, but do we understand the meaning of manish? So manish means man ish. Man means mind. Ish means one who has controlled, who has conquered the mind. So Manisha means one who has conquered their mind. So Manishana, Phalam Tyaktva Manishana. These people who have conquered their mind, they have given up the result of their work. So they become free from the cycle of birth and death. They become free from all the miseries. So we know this material world is defined by Pavarga. And we have talked about per varga so many times in Devanagari script. One line starts with letter per. So per, fa, ba, bha, ma. That is called per varga. So in per varga, that is the nature of material world. Per means parishram. Everybody works so hard in this material world. And as a result of hard work, what happens? Per fa. What is fa? If somebody is speaking, you're on mute.
Pal.
Phal. So fa is phal, the result.
Fruit. Action. Fruit of action.
Yes, fruit of our action. So we may get some result, but that result does not last forever, right? We may get some wealth, that wealth may not stay forever. We may have some nice opulences that may not stay forever. So we do a lot of parishram, we may get some result which is temporary. Pa, fa, bha, then everybody is pa, fa, ba. Ba means, what is meaning of ba? Vyarth, right? It goes waste ultimately. And bha is bhai. Everybody in this material world is filled with fear. And ultimately, ma is mrityu. That everybody has to die. Nobody can escape the death. And fa, which we were talking about, fa means fena also. That because we do so much hard work, and because of that hard work, the person, when they take rest at night, there is so much foam coming from the mouth. Foam means there is some um, spit coming from the mouth. People may say that their pillow is also a little wet because some saliva coming out from the mouth, which makes your pillow wet, right? They're salivating. So material world nature is described as pervarga. But Beyond Pavarga, there is Apavarga. Apavarga means which is beyond all these five elements, where there is no hard labor for existence, where every step is dance, where every word is a music, is a song. So one need to desire for that goal, desire for that destination. So Krishna is saying one becomes free if somebody works based on the principle of Buddhi Yoga. They become free from the cycle of bondage, birth and death in this material world, and then they will go beyond all miseries. And in Bhagavatam also, Bhagavatam, 10th canto of Bhagavatam, it describes one very beautiful verse. It says, Samasrita ye pad palvam महत्पदं पुण्यवसो मुरारी भावा अम्बुधिर्वत्स padam param padma padma padam yad vipadam natesham. So somebody who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of this cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda, famous as Murari. He is known by the name Mukunda, who is the giving of liberation, who is known by the name Murari, who has killed the demon Mura. So somebody take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which is like the boat for this Bhavasagar, material existence. One can easily cross beyond that material ocean. Just like this material ocean, the material world becomes like a water contained in a calf's hoof print. Vatsa padam. So easily one can cross beyond this material existence as if somebody is just crossing over a puddle of water. Because such people, they do not want to stay in this place of danger. Padam padam yad vipadam. But rather they want to go to Vaikuntha, that is their goal, where there is no danger. So padam padam yad vipadam na tesham. They do not desire to stay in this place of misery where there is a danger at every step. So that should be the goal. We should work in such a way that we can cut down our attachment in this world, we can cut down our bondage in this material world, and desire for the higher destination. And what is needed for that? What kind of intelligence is needed for that? Krishna tells in text number 52. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyati tarishyati tadaghantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard or all that is to be heard. So, indirectly, Krishna is saying all that you have heard or all that yet to be heard is indicating towards all material enjoyment in this world. So, when you have become indifferent to all the talks about material enjoyment in this world, when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of illusion. So moha, yadate moha kalilam. Moha is illusion, kalila is forest. So buddhir vyati tarishyati. So when your intelligence has passed out of that dense forest of illusion, illusion about enjoyment in this material world. Because in this life, up to this point, whatever 30, 40, 50, 60 years of our life has been, right, we have maximum heard about material enjoyment in this life. People tell, oh, you do this, you can enjoy in this way, you try to achieve this, you can enjoy in that way. And many of the Vedic ritual talk about sense enjoyment in this world. You do this karma kanda, you can have this much enjoyment, you can gain this benefit. So that's why Krishna is saying, whatever you have heard and all that to be heard about all this material enjoyment, when you become indifferent to that, when your intelligence is passed out of this dense forest of illusion, Then you can attain that goal. So when our intelligence goes beyond illusion, at that time we will become indifferent to all that what we have heard for sense enjoyment, means one will become free from misery. So even in the scripture, there is so much promise of heavenly pleasure, right? That's why whenever somebody dies, but people say वो स्वर्ग सिधार गए, because it's so much deep rooted in our consciousness. People just think of swarga because they think, oh, here there is so much misery, in swarga there is so much happiness, and they desire for that destination. वो स्वर्ग सिधार गए, he has departed to the heavenly abode. How many times we hear really saying वो प्रभु चरणों में विलीन हो गए, he has departed to वैकुंठ, वो वैकुंठ पधार पधार गए. People talk about swarga only, swarga सिधार गए. So in scriptures also there is so much mention about heavenly pleasure. But Krishna says don't get caught up on that. Don't get caught up on the flowery words of the Vedas. Don't get attached to the material opulences. Oh, this car, this house, this promotion in job, this. If I get this, then I will be happy. Because one gets caught in this, all the hopes and promises. Even Rig Veda talks about so many of the Karma Kanda rituals. Actually, all the Vedas, it says Rig Veda is the most materialistic scriptural book, most materialistic religious book, actually, because that's a book of sense gratification. It promotes Karma Kanda principles for sense gratification. But the realized sages, the realized souls, they go beyond these Vedic rituals after understanding that yes, the pleasures one attain from all these activities, fruitive activities, either in this life or in the higher planets, they are all temporary and they are mixed with misery only. Like doing some karam kanda, somebody may gain some material benefit. People observe even some ekadashi also. Many people observe ekadashi for material gains. If you read all the stories of Ekadashi Vrat Mahatmya, right? Most of the stories are indicating towards some material benefit. Oh, this person did Ekadashi Vrata, and because of that, they got this benefit. Some Ekadashi Vrata is for Putra Prapati, right? That because observing this Ekadashi, finally they were able to beget a son. Or they observe Ekadashi, they got so much of material opulence. Even people observe Ekadashi for material gains, but ultimately one need to come to that higher level of intelligence that this is not for material benefit, but my ultimate goal should be to please the Supreme Lord. The purpose of my observing Ekadashi is for satisfaction of Krishna. So Prabhupada in the purport quotes the example of Madhvendra Puri. Madhvendra Puri, he was a wonderful devotee. Right? What does he say? That yatra kvapi nishadaya yadava कुलोत्तमस्य कंसद्वेषः स्मराम समराम अघम हरामि tad alam manye kim अन्येन मे. He's thinking that I do not need to do any other rituals or karma kanda principles. Wherever I sit, I can remember that great descendants of Yadu dynasty. Yadavah kulottamasya kamsa dvisha. I can remember that great descendants of Yadu dynasty, the enemy of Kamsa. And therefore, by just remembering him, smaram agham harami, by just remembering him, I can free myself from all the sinful bondage. Tad alam manne kim anyena me. I think that is sufficient for me. I do not need anything else. So that's how we need to come to a higher level of intelligence, higher level of consciousness. My purpose is to please Krishna. By just remembering Krishna, I can become free from all miseries. There is no need to do any other ritualistic activities for material benefit. So Krishna very beautifully here is saying, only when your intelligence has passed out of this dense forest of illusion, then one can become indifferent to all these hopes and promises of material enjoyment in this world. Shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Whatever you have heard about material gains, or whatever you are going to hear further, because still when you continue to read Shastra, you will come across many texts which says, oh, if you do this, you can get this benefit. If you do that, you can get this benefit. So don't get caught up on all this. Stay focused on your goal. My goal is to attain Krishna. My goal is to attain spiritual world. So don't settle for something temporary. Don't settle for something inferior. So text number 53. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, means when your intelligence now is not allured by the fruitive section of the Vedas, and when your mind becomes fixed in trance of self-realization, then you have attained that divine consciousness, that perfect yoga. So as a sadhaka, when we advance on the spiritual path, within our mind, our relationship with God, our relationship with Krishna should become stronger. So at that time, then all these Vedic rituals, which we may have performed earlier, they seem to be waste of time. They seem to be time consuming and very cumbersome. And then we start wondering, oh, do I really need to still perform those ritualistic activities? Am I obliged to keep performing those rituals, right? Along with my actual sadhana, my actual spiritual practice. Do I really need to do any other Vedic rituals, any other those ritualistic performances which I may have done earlier? And one may think, oh, if I reject all these rituals, if I dedicate myself fully to my sadhana, will I be committing any offense? Because this is what happened to many people when they come to the practice of bhakti, when they hear from the devotees, when they now read in the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam that, oh, there is no need to perform any other rituals. You can just focus on your sadhana to develop your relationship with Krishna. They become very concerned. Will I commit offenses now if I don't worship any other Devi Devatas? So here, answer to their question, Krishna is answering that don't get disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas. Remain fixed in self-realization. Then you will come to the level of divine consciousness. So Krishna is saying, fix in sadhana without getting distracted by your fruitive section of Vedas. It is not an offense, but this is a higher spiritual state. Okay, so don't think, oh, I will be committing offense. Again, Madhvendra Puri, Prabhupada quoted in the previous verse in the purport. So in 14th century, Madhvendra Puri was a wonderful devotee. He is a Vedic Brahmana from birth. He used to engage in many ritualistic practices as a Vedic Brahmana in earlier part of his life. But when Madhvendra Puri, he took to sannyas, he took the renounced order of his life. He is fully dedicated in devotional activities. Now at that stage, what is he praying? He is saying, oh, now I apologize to all these kind of rituals. Please forgive me. I do not have time for you. The three times Sandhya Vandan. So he says, please just accept my obeisances. I apologize. I do not have time for you. Oh, there is a description of taking Vedic baths, holy baths for these many times of the day at these particular times. Oh, my obeisances to that holy baths. Please forgive me. I do not have time. Now I am completely dedicated to Krishna. I do not have time for offering the oblations to the ancestors, the offerings to the ancestors. Please excuse me. So he is also saying by this example, when our consciousness has reached a higher state, one does not have to stick with the previous some ritualistic performances we may have been doing. For example, some people may have been doing Satyanarayan Puja, right? In South India, this is very common. People do this Satyanarayan Puja. And when we come to the process of Krishna consciousness, now we see, oh, we don't do all that. We don't perform all these different pujas and all. One may think, oh, if I don't do the Satyanarayan Puja, will it be an offense now? I used to do that yearly or at special occasions. But again, Krishna is saying, don't get allured by all these ritualistic performances. Situate your consciousness on a higher platform. Don't think if I stop doing this, it will become an offense, that the demigods will become displeased with me. Perfectly situate yourself in higher intelligence. The waves will come, and go, they will come and shake the boat. But if the boat is anchored, then the waves cannot harm the boat. So same way, if our intelligence is anchored at the feet of Krishna, then all these different thoughts, all these different materialistic waves, they cannot shake us. They will come. As long as we are in this material world, there will be disturbances, right? No doubt in that. There will be problems also. As long as we have this body, the jara vayadhi, old age, disease, and ultimately death, that is going to come. So that is a misery that is going to remain. But if we fix our consciousness, if we fix our intelligence at the feet of Krishna, then we can stay protected. So Krishna, in these previous verses, he has described of a person, excuse me, somebody who should try to situate himself in Buddhi Yoga, Buddhi Yukto. Now, after Krishna has spoken all that, Arjuna has been thinking, right? Because Arjuna is trying to relate with himself. And sometimes it happens many times, not sometimes, many times it happens. One person may be speaking something, but if our mind is stuck on one question, we may just keep thinking about that question, the answer for that question. We may not be even hearing all that. So Arjuna is also asking question based on his level of thinking. So in next verse, Arjuna asks many questions. Arjuna uvacha sthita pragyasya ka bhasha samadhai satasya keshava sthitadi kim prabhasheta kim asita vrajeta kim. So Arjuna is asking many questions. Oh Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? Sthita pragya. Sthita pragya ka bhasha samadhi satyasya keshava. So somebody who is situated in this state of samadhi, in transcendence, what is his symptom? Sthitadhi kim prabhasheta. How does he speak? Kim asita brajeta kim. How does he sit and how does he walk? So Arjuna's question is at the level of his thinking. Because he is thinking, oh, should I fight or should I not fight? Krishna, in previous verses, Krishna explained about a perfect yogi, Buddhi yogi. So Arjuna is thinking, oh, will such person, will he fight or not fight? So most of the time, as I said, if we are stuck on one question, our mind is just going about that only to get the answer of that. We may not be hearing anything else. Even though speaker has spoke 1 hour, maybe we remember only 5-10 minutes of that. So Arjuna is also thinking all the time, should I fight? Should I not fight? Krishna spoke about Buddhi Yogi. So he is thinking, oh, will such Buddhi Yogi will be fighting or not? Because Krishna, in text number 49, Krishna used the word Avaram Karma. Right? Keep away the abominable activity. Keep away this activity which is inferior work. And for Krishna, this Avaram Karma was the Karma Kanda work, the Sakam Karma, the work with the desire to attain result, because that will bound us in this samsara. So Krishna is referring to that work as Avaram Karma. And for Arjuna, He is thinking Avaram Karma means fighting the war, because that will bring sinful reaction. So for Arjuna, that was Avaram Karma, the abominable work or inferior work. So everybody thinks at their level of thinking, right? Everybody understand also. We speaker may say something, but 10 different people they hear. Everybody may have a different level of understanding based on their level of thought process, their level of thinking. So Arjuna is also asking question at his level of thinking. So Arjuna, even though he is a pure devotee, but now he is under the influence of Yoga Maya. He is put into this illusion, into this confusion. So he's asking this question. Even though he has all the symptoms of a great devotee, but he has forgotten all those symptoms under the influence of Yoga Maya. Just like a um, rich man has his symptoms by which he knows he is a rich man, and a diseased man has a symptom by which he knows he is diseased. Learned man has a symptom by which one can see this person is in knowledge, right? So man in transcendental consciousness, in Krishna consciousness, he also has specific symptoms in their dealing. So Arjuna is asking, okay, tell me what are the symptoms of such person who is situated in Buddhi Yoga, who is a Sthita Pragya? What are their symptoms? So most important symptom is to know how a person in Krishna consciousness speaks. Kabhasha. That's why Arjuna is asking, what is his speech? How does he speak? Because from speech, we can understand many things. Speech is the most important quality for a person, because it is said a fool is uncovered as long as one does not speak. As soon as a fool speaks, he is discovered now. People may understand, oh, this person is a fool number one. He may be suited, booted in nice dress. As long as he does not speak, people may consider him as a gentleman. But as soon as he opens his mouth, people realize, oh, he is a fool. So a fool reveals himself by his speech. So same way, a Krishna consciousness person, he speaks only about Krishna and the talks related to Krishna. So Arjuna is asking, please tell me the symptoms of such Sthita Pragya person. How does he speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So why Arjuna is asking how does he sit? How does he walk? Is Arjuna interested in his walking posture, in his walking gait, or what? But actual meaning when Krishna says, Arjuna asks, Kim Asita, means how he restrain his senses. When Arjuna asks, Kim Vrajeta, means how does he engages his senses. Okay, so a Sthita Pragya person, how does he speak? Means what kind of things he speak, how he restrain his sense of tongue. Kim Asita, how he restrain his other senses, his mind, his belly, his genitals. Kim Vrajeta, how he engages his senses. So the rest part of this chapter, text number 55 to 72, Krishna is going to answer these questions of Arjuna. What are the qualities of a Sthita Pragya? One who is situated in transcendental consciousness. So we'll stop here today and we'll discuss the qualities of a Sthita Pragya person, the symptoms of a Sthita Pragya person in the next session. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Okay, if anybody has any questions, comments, please feel free.
Yeah, Prabhuji, you did a very good job. And now you are coming to the meat of the whole second chapter. A lot of people like this, Sthita Prajna. I think Chinmayaji was saying one of the greatest verses in the whole literature of the world. This Sthita Prajna, he's telling, because the sequence, the way it goes and answers the question, same thing Mahatma Gandhi had. His Sam Pratna is the Sthita Prajna. So this is a very interesting chapter. A lot of Brahmavadis people love this chapter. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Thank you, Suresh Prabhu. Anybody else has any question, comment?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vijay Prabhu.
Prabhuji, in professional life, we just realized it's very difficult for us to really balance on, do work without any result, or, I mean, it may take you to a certain level of satisfaction, but it's such a long process. I mean, we are spending about 40 years or so
Hmm.
as a part of our career. If you don't have that, I mean, okay, if you feel that, okay, TK, I'll not be bound by the result, and if you feel that you're not growing, then will lead you to a level of sort of a frustration, which is even more horrible than not having the results. So there is a duality here.
So your question basically, or your comment is that in our professional life, we have to have some level of concern about the result to keep ourselves motivated for improving ourselves or to deal with the newer and newer technology and all that. So see, the overall purpose is, last time also we discussed, there is a difference in attachment with the result or being concerned with the result. We do not say don't be concerned with the result, right? The example was that, oh, I'm doing my project, I don't care if it's finished on time or not. That is not the topic which we are discussing here. We should be still concerned about the result, but don't be attached to the result. Okay, the wife is cooking in the kitchen and wife think, I don't care if I burn the vegetable, if I burn the sabji, or if I cook the sabji nicely. So I'm just doing my duty of cooking. I don't care if it comes out nice or not. That is not the point. We should be still concerned. The purpose is, I want to do my best, but I want to do it for the pleasure of Krishna, not for my own satisfaction. So do your work thinking, Krishna has given me this work, Krishna has given me this ability. Let me do it to the best of my ability to please Krishna. Do it for pleasure of Krishna, do it for our purification. Okay, not for attachment with the result. I will do my best, but I'm not thinking as a deadline. I'm not putting a deadline. Oh, by end of this year, I should definitely get a promotion to the next level. If we are attaching a price tag, if we are attaching a result tag with that, then it will always end up in frustration. So don't deal in that way. Do it just as a matter of your duty, thinking, yes, I'm doing this job. This job is also given to me by Krishna to take care of my family. Okay, to render some service to Krishna, because whatever I have earned from this job, from this profession, I can utilize in service of Krishna, some part of that. And ultimately, this family is also a gift of Krishna, and I need to manage that. So again, we have talked about this point earlier also. Be a gardener, not the owner. Right? हमें इस संसार में माली बनकर रहना है, मालिक बनकर नहीं. A gardener do his duty to water the plants, water the flowers, or do the pruning of the flowers and all. So he's doing his duty, taking care of that garden. He doesn't start thinking, I am the owner of this garden. The same way, the example of teller, right? The teller is working in the bank. People come, they withdraw their money. The teller is giving them the money. He doesn't start thinking, oh, so many people have withdrawn their money from the bank. I lost so much money. Ultimately, it was their money. He just gave it back to them. People come, deposit the money. He takes from them and put in the account. People come to withdraw. He takes and give it to them. So same way, we have to think, well, we are doing our duty, whatever has been awarded to us by Krishna. Just let me do it with that sense of duty for my own purification or for the pleasure of Krishna. You don't thinking about I am attached to the result. I have to get this promotion. I have to move to the next level. I have to have an increment of this much. So if we put those tags, then it will end up in frustration, right? That is the bondage in this material world then.
Not only that, but Prabhuji, that brings a depression, and sometimes you lose if you don't get it. You just become indifferent to work, and all kinds of complication comes. That's why I
Yes.
like the way Chinmay, you were saying, if you don't want to get the pressure and stress, this is the best way to work it, because the moment you are attached to the result, you start doing stress, frustration, like you mentioned, all kinds of repercussions come in. Then
Mhm.
you even sometimes if they don't give you, you hate your work or you hate the place you work, or so it brings a lot of bad things. And Krishna is raising your bar. He keeps raising the bar for spirituality. And interestingly, I was reading this Bhagavad and all that. I thought Prahlad becomes Saul the god, and then God sends him back to the daily life, get the
Mhm.
Grihastha. Same thing with Dhruv, same thing with Prithu.
Mhm.
Finish it all and come back again to me. So he's not totally neglecting the word, because he's attached to the word, and he says he has created Brahma and all that. So interestingly, basically the moment you get attached to the result, the anger comes, all kinds of jealousy comes, and all that thing comes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, you quoted very beautiful examples. Prahlad Maharaj, when prayed, Nrsimhadev said, okay, now you have to enter into the next phase of your life, right? Even though he had taken darshan of the Lord face to face, again, Prahlad is still continuing his duties. He became the king also, he married also, he had children also. So he continued with all those responsibilities, doing it as a matter of duty without getting attached to anything. Okay, let's see if there is any other question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Ravi Shankar Prabhu.
So Prabhu, based on this conversation, this was going on. Basically, Prabhu, there is one example that you gave about the teller or the gardener. So that if an individual is working on that mindset, it's more of a sustainment mindset.
Mhm.
I'm a nimit, just keep doing your duty. Don't think much about the results or so. Just keep doing it. But otherwise, also we see that. But the other mindset is where it's a growth mindset.
Mhm.
In the growth mindset, you have to have some vision to progress, be it materialistic progress or targets,
Mhm.
sales target or a project target or spiritual growth. So in that growth mindset, you have to have some targets assigned. In that growth mindset, you're still progressing towards that road, but that attachment at that stage is, if you do not, for any reason or the other, it's not really do not uh, uh, put in your efforts, but because of any reason or the other, if the date, project deadline date shifts, you are not really depressing yourself or getting into the mode, or if you are successful, then you're still not taking it as a credit, or that's where. But the mindset should still be a growth mindset, is
Right.
really.
So either it's a sustenance mindset or growth mindset. There's no problem with that. Either we can work just for sustenance or even for growth. Like, the example I gave of the gardener is not just a sustenance, it's the growth, right? He is growing. He wants the plants to grow. He is putting a seed. He wants the plants to grow. But again, not thinking himself to be the proprietor or the enjoyer. We can work our best. A student works their best. They will study with a desire to grow, that I want to grow in my career, I want to get good grades. We will do our best. But again, at the end, even if it does not come as per our expectation, don't get attached to that. Don't lead it to frustration.
Yeah, that's right.
So ultimate is, one should not get frustrated that, oh, this did not come as per what I expected. I was hoping for this, it did not happen, so now I am useless person. now I am hopeless person. So don't put too much of expectations on that. Do your work to the best of your ability. Either it's for sustenance or for growth.
That's right, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Okay, if no other questions or comments, we will end it here. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.